am I actually in the right space here? Is it actually safe to keep moving forward in this dynamic? And I think that you needed to know if you were well matched with this person. And so, hi Pisces, welcome to your reading today. This is your mid-March reading for 2023, or for whenever you come across this video for the next 30 days. So we have some cards that are pre-drawn for you guys, and then we will also shuffle some cards on camera. That way we can get into as much detail as possible today. And we also have a rune, so we'll get to talk about this as well. But let's actually just talk about this first, because it is the underlying energy for much of what we're going to be talking about today, or just the underlying emotion that you may be experiencing that may be influenced by the situation that we talk about today. So, in reverse, this rune could either be talking about a sense of protection that you may feel you need at this moment, or about a sense of hopelessness. And as I'm saying those two things, I feel like the sense of hopelessness is more so what I'm getting from this reading, but you'll know individually which one applies to you more. But let's get some information to talk about why this emotion may be coming up for you. So the first card we have here is Threshold. We also have the card Soulmates in reverse. And then we have the cards Farm and Asia. Alright, so what I want to talk about first is the Soulmates card. The Soulmates card in reverse talks about an experience where someone is learning or growing through their relationship with another person, and oftentimes this being an experience that is very difficult. But because the Threshold card here, as well as the Hopelessness card, this gives me a feeling that whatever this dynamic is, it doesn't feel good for many of you guys. So I'm not necessarily saying that this relationship is negative or positive. I'm just saying that the experience that you're having in this relationship doesn't feel pleasant. Like, it kind of gives the essence of, say for example, if you are becoming like self-aware or becoming more conscious of the unconscious things in your emotional life, that this relationship may be bringing those things up. But I think for each and every person, it'll be different whether or not this relationship you find to be healthy or unhealthy, because I think it can happen in both dynamics. So also too, that may be why the protection versus the hopelessness part kind of comes in, because for some of you guys, if you find that this experience is happening within an unhealthy dynamic, that there could be that sense of like, you know, protection that, you know, if you are spiritual, for example, or religious, maybe you find yourself praying about this situation or speaking to the universe about this situation to kind of like relieve the situation. But if this is a sense of hopelessness, maybe this is a healthy relationship where you are finding that your partner is bringing out, or maybe they are accepting of a lot of the changes that you're wanting to make. And so it's allowing for this quicker pace of change that you're experiencing within yourself. And maybe the ground kind of feels like, you know, it's not as stable as it used to be because so much of you is changing. And yes, while you have this person as a as something to kind of like hold on to or stick on to, it gives the sense that because you are changing, your relationship is also changing. And because both of those things have changed, the world kind of feels like it's changing, you know, your perspective, your mindset about things, how you experience life. So it does give a sense of understanding of why you may be feeling hopeless, because so much is going on for you guys. I feel like these two cards here come in to say a little bit about what some of you may be experiencing. I feel like this is specific for some of my Pisces. Maybe you are into New Age spirituality, or maybe you are a more spiritual person, regardless of you know, what those practices kind of look like. Maybe you are someone who's really into nature. These could also just be suggestions of things that you may find helpful. Now, I'm not necessarily suggesting new age or specific like spiritual practices, but if it's in regards to like nature, like going out, bird watching, sunbathing, these sorts of things that may help to ground you, give you a sense of grounding, give you a sense of being in your body, give you a sense of connection to something. That way you don't feel so up in the clouds, kind of how this threshold card is. And with the threshold card too, it gives the same essence as the soulmates because we see two penguins here, two lions here. So there's really a sense, I feel like for many of you this is regarding relationships, whether this is with a friendship or romantic, because we have the soulmate cards here. For many of you this is romantic. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull a bunch of our relationship cards and we're going to get into it for you guys, Pisces. That way we can get you as much information as possible. So the first deck we're going to use here is the Love Compass Oracle. So what messages do you guys have for Pisces? Yeah, I definitely get that sense. I'm looking at the first card that flew out. I feel like there's one more card in this deck that wants to come out. Okay, that one flipped over. All right, so let's talk about it. The first one we have here is different paths. You and this person are going down different paths. You are not on the same page. You have different visions of what you want for your life and where you're headed. Be honest with yourself and this person. Does this relationship align with the direction you want to move in? So, this threshold card could be talking about that, sort of like a fork in the road sort of situation, and also the soulmates in reverse. And upright, we're talking about a situation that feels good, feels healthy, feels like it is home, feels like it is the right place for us. In reverse, it could be talking about the total opposite, where a place that once felt like it was suited for us no longer feels suited for us. Again, we're talking about you guys, Pisces, going through a lot of changes that have changed who you are as a person. And so you may find for some of you guys, Pisces, that you are choosing to leave a dynamic because it no longer feels like it's best suited for who you are now as a person. And you will know if this is you or not. We have delays and blocks. There are delays and blocks in manifesting new relationships in your life. You may be struggling to get out of a certain way of thinking or off a certain path. There are deep wounds that need healing for forward movement to occur. You are going through a period of deep transformation. This is slow but definite progress. So if you're wondering, like how long is this going to last? Why is this going on? Know that whatever changes, whether they were changes that you consciously said to yourself, like, I want to make this change, and this change. These are changes sort of like similar to like the Tower card in the tarot. These are changes that will benefit you because in one way or another, the foundation that you had set up in a dynamic, whether it was just life in general or in this relationship, was one that needed to crumble because it wasn't on firm grounding. Like there was just something about it in essence that wasn't a good fit for you, either in the past or no longer a good fit because again, the changes that you've made. So you may find that if you've already left a relationship and you've been looking for a relationship, you're kind of like, what is going on? Why can't I find anyone? You may still be in this period of discovery of yourself. And so it may be hard to find a match because you're not yet clear on your morals, your values, your needs, your wants, because some of these things have changed. And as you become clear on these things, even if it's not that you're looking for a long-term relationship, just being a little bit clear on what you are wanting to experience can help to make it a little bit easier in this process of looking. And then last, we have children. Children are involved in this relationship. This could be the possibility of bringing in a child or the thought of having children. This may pertain to you acknowledging your inner child or reaching a childlike frequency or high vibration. So yeah, several things that this could be talking about. This could be talking about, like it said, healing healing some things that happened in the past as a child or as a teenager. This could also be, difficulty in maybe leaving a dynamic because you guys have kids together. Maybe you're married, maybe you're separated. And then this could also be figuring out whether or not you as an individual want children. So maybe this was something that you didn't put a lot of thought into before getting into a relationship. And as you were kind of dating, you figured out, yes, I do want kids, or yes, I don't want kids. And it was a mismatch for the person that you're with. And so this may result in you being on different paths because you don't match up in this area. And it's really important for each of you to have this need met later down the line in the relationship. So let's get some more relationship cards. So it's definitely a lot of different sort of groups in the Aquarius pile, but definitely like the essence of it talking about changes that you're making, figuring out your needs and wants, staying true to those things. The first card that came out here is physical intimacy. The topic is up for discussion. Choose healthy/balanced relationships, doing it for the right reasons. So yeah, you guys, if you find that you're someone who doesn't put a lot of thought into your needs and wants when getting into dynamics, this may be changing for you because you may be realizing that because you didn't have those conversations before, you spent time getting to know someone to just find out that, hey, we don't match up in this area, and this area. And it may make it a lot more difficult for you to leave, realizing that, hey, we're actually on different paths because you have like this emotional connection to this person. And so you may be figuring out, again, your needs, your wants, your morals, your values, so that you save yourself time and save yourself heartbreaks, because in those initial conversations, you're already able to figure out, all right, you may be a really cool person, but we wouldn't be suited in a relationship. Maybe this is more of a friendship sort of situation, or maybe we just split ways right now. We also have exclusive, GF, BF, commitment, possible marriage, material or life partner, not dating other people. So for my Aquarius here, where you feel like you guys are a good match, you have now put thought into your morals, your values, your needs, your wants, and you're figuring out, okay, this person actually is a good match for me. This is the go ahead. Like, you can trust your gut instinct on this situation. And again, if, say for example, all of my Aquarius have found themselves in situations where they got into relationships not first thinking about their, those four things we talked about: morals, values, needs, wants. And now later down the road in your relationship, you found yourself at this sort of like crossroads, this threshold where you needed to think about those stuff because there was a sense of not unhappiness, but maybe indifference for some of you guys because you just weren't sure. Am I actually in the right space here? Is it actually safe to keep moving forward in this dynamic? And I think that you needed to know if you were well matched with this person. And so if you are well matched with this person, when now putting thought into these things, and you know what the other person wants as well, because I think there's also an aspect here of needing to make sure that both people in this dynamic are very honest about what they want. That way, say for example, this is not for everyone, but for a specific few, if you know what the other person wants is not matched for you, you may find yourself needing to leave. Because if you don't leave, we have the delays and blocks here. And I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just giving an example here. But we have the delays and blocks here. So say, for example, you want kids and this person doesn't want kids. And they've been open about it. You've now shared. But they're not willing to end the relationship. You may find yourself in a situation where you're having to choose to leave because you recognize that this isn't going to work with something like kids, that mismatch and who wants kids and who doesn't. So yeah, let's get some more cards. All right, so let's get into it because we know we have a couple different piles here, so let's talk about it. So we have talking again. Texting, reconnecting with someone, open up a dialogue, second chance, back in each other's world. Again, this is, dependent on each person. If this is someone that you feel like is not mismatch, I feel like the rune is coming in to say protect yourself in a sense. Not not leaving space for someone who is not a match, even though it may be very difficult. Kind of recognizing that in leaving space for someone who isn't a good match, you may be closing an opportunity to meet someone who is a match. We have leaving space. Give yourself time to heal. Right one can't come if the wrong one is there. Clear a drawer for them. Yeah, exactly. Exactly what we're just talking about. Like, it's easy for me to kind of sit here and say, like, oh, don't be with a person who's not a good match. I recognize that this is not as easy as saying it. It may take time, it may take effort, it may take repeated attempts, but I think that the reading here is definitely talking about for those of you in this pile Pisces who find that you're not a match. Eventually, when you do get to a point where you can lead this dynamic that you don't feel is a match, having the space to meet someone who is. Splitsville, wow. There's a lot of confirmation, okay. Leaving quickly / decisively, the relationship is devolving or ending, not keeping in touch, time alone. So yeah, this is, just more confirmation for this group in Aquarius. You may find that you need to leave very quickly, very abruptly. And some people may place judgment like, oh, well, you never loved me, or you can't love a person if you get over them that quick. I think that if that is a tactic that you take, it's because it's the one that was going to be most effective for you. You know yourself best. Some people genuinely do need to just make a quick break because if it is slow, drawn out, it makes it very hard to stick to a decision that is very emotionally charged, very emotionally connected dynamic. Personality traits. Funny, great personality, compatible, resonance / connection, sunny and light interaction. So, my Pisces, you guys are trying to find people who are a good match in any area. Maybe there are things that you felt like weren't existing in a relationship, and because you're going to be going out and thinking about these things again, dating again, finding new people in the future, you'll have the time to think to yourself what is important. Also too, what was important for you to experience as a single person that you want to bring into a relationship. So for example, say you got into a relationship and all of a sudden you got disconnected from friends or got disconnected from hobbies, and now when you start to date again, you want to make sure that those things don't happen. So maybe, in this time alone of being single or after you break up, you really get into your hobbies and you vow to yourself to stick with those hobbies even when you start to date again. And the last card we have here is the cheater story. Cheated on now or in the past, trust issues triggered, heal past hurts, and change your future. So, maybe for a few of my Aquarius, this is the experience that you've had where someone has broken your trust in one way or another. But again, we have the children card here, I believe. Is it? Yep, right underneath this one, actually. So this card could just be talking about reiterating that idea of healing your past, healing, childhood stuff, so that you don't necessarily feel like it makes it very difficult to engage in relationships in a way that it may have made it difficult to do so. This could be things like codependency, fear of abandonment, fear of failure, and other things like that. So the last thing that I want to get for you guys, or the last two things, is one, a self-forgiveness card, because sometimes, later down the road, we'll find that we've been hard on ourselves. We sometimes forget that we have been doing the best that we can in every present moment with the knowledge and skills that we had. Sometimes we forget that, and so we need to forgive ourselves for, the time and space and, all of those things that we needed in order to actually get a change to happen at a specific time. So the self-forgiveness cards that you guys have, or the card that you have, is I forgive myself for believing what others have said to be true over what I have felt in my body to be true. I choose to believe that every person has their own valid, unique truth, and when I focus on cultivating greater self-trust, my inner knowing amplifies. This reminds me of an experience of you figuring out what's best for you, what's suited for you, what feels like a good match for you, and another person trying to convince you otherwise. So if that is an experience that you've had or that you are having, please know that It is very difficult to recognize certain things in the present moment. It takes time. It takes going through an experience and feeling uncomfortable and feeling that like, oh, this doesn't feel right, to recognize that, you know what? No, I was right. What this person is trying to tell me about myself is not right, and I know myself best. I think that's some of the experience that some of you guys are having. So, if you're wanting to leave a dynamic and another person is trying to convince you, like, say, for example, oh, well, you're having a quarter life crisis or you're having a midlife crisis, this isn't real. And you know it to be real. You know that you've rediscovered yourself. You've changed. Your needs and wants have changed, and the relationship doesn't suit that, and you feel the need to leave. Know that you can trust those feelings. All right, and let us get you a card that will talk about a skill that you can use or develop to help you through this situation or through the emotions that you may be experiencing, especially because, part of this for some of you guys may be that experience of hopelessness. And if you don't know, if you're new to this channel, we do a lot of stuff here with our mental health. That way we can make sure that we have as many skills as possible to take care of ourselves. So let's get Pisces a card here. Okay, so we have accepts emotions. Emotions flow from what we do. Change your behavior to create a different emotion. When depressed, get into behaviors that lift you. When anxious, get into behaviors that relax you. And when angry, get into behaviors that calm you. Check your emotions in this moment, and if you want to change, decide to participate in a healthy behavior to create a new emotion. So I love this for you guys. So take the time you need to, if you need to like grab a book or a notepad or pull your phone out and use, the notes section, just to kind of think of what are some of the things that are opposite of the emotion that you may be dealing with. So if you're feeling hopeless, what is something that would allow you to feel hopeful? So it's talking to friends and having them remind you of how awesome you are and, how much of a catch you still are. Is it a shoulder to cry on? That way you can kind of let out some of your fears and anxieties and realize that, like, you know what, I'm still able to date, I'm still able to meet new people, even though, this was an experience, a person that I really enjoyed and wanted to be with. Whatever that is for you guys, it's very unique to each person. But yeah, I hope that you find this helpful. And with any of these, if you don't find, I would say it's best to try these skills to see which ones work, which ones are a good fit. But if you find that a skill is not a good fit, that's okay. Not every skill is going to be a good fit for you. We have plenty of videos. Even if you find that these readings don't resonate with you, it's totally okay to just take the skills from these videos. I hope that if I can't give confirmation of an experience that you're having, that I can at least share skills that may be helpful to you. All right. So thank you guys for being here, Pisces. I know that you're going through it right now, dealing with a lot. You may not really be in a place emotionally that feels the best, but please know that just like the self-forgiveness card said, you know yourself best. You know what is true for you. You know what is true for what you need, what you want, what you desire in your life. And if you stick to those things, and when emotions get heavy, if you can find behaviors that allow you to kind of get a break from that, even if you just distract yourself, right? Maybe we're not able to do something that is the opposite of this. So maybe if we're depressed, we can't necessarily find it to be easy to get into behaviors that lift you, but maybe you can get a moment of healthy distraction. So maybe you are really like heavily feeling depressed about a breakup. Maybe you need to watch Netflix for a little bit just to give you a break and feeling that, and you watch a show that's comedy, or you watch like a nice rom-com that lifts your mood, or maybe you're like a horror junkie and that gives you a break from some of the heavy emotions you've been experiencing, whatever that is for you guys. So Pisces, I'm giving you a big hug over here and I will see you guys in your next reading. Bye guys.